Okay, welcome to the practical aspect of SQL. When you download your Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, it's going to undergo two processes actually. After you have downloaded it to, when you log in, you need to connect, and if you're not connecting directly like that, you can connect from here too. To see something like this, you connect to your database. So after connecting, for now, we'll not be adding a new flat cell or probably CSV data set for now. We'll work on that after we are done with creating of tables, then joining. So what you want to do now, is basically, these are database, what we want to do now is that we're going to be creating tables here. So if you want to do anything, this is file, add to open your data set, this is editing, view, project tools, and all like that. So we're going to what we need to do. Let's go to new query. When you go to new query, you have something like this. So don't forget, for this class you need to understand some syntax that's very important. The word select is very important. Select is very important. Select, and you have to be careful. Select is very, if you are selecting anything, you need to put from into your selection. Then you need to add things like probably the name of the column. Then you need to add the table name alongside the name of the column. Or if you're not doing that, you're selecting, or you have to select star. Okay, so we're not doing that now. We want to create a table using SQL first. So after that, we'll be taking us out to actually retrieve our data from our database management system, meaning that we'll be importing some data from CSV. Then after importing it, we'll be using some syntax or command it to select, to sum, to do some other things. But for now, let's go into how to create a table, exporting new data set into our SQL. You get now. So let's go on with what we have now. So this is a new query. Note, when you want to write a query without running it, or you want to put an header, you put double dash. So let's do, I like people to actually name their stuff. Let's go to creating table, so that you understand. So you press enter. So don't forget, this is where your file is. This is where you edit. This is where you view. If you want to change anything about your view, this is where you query, execute. But you can know that offhand of F5. Then if you want to add project tools and all that. So let's go on creating table now. We're going to create your table. You use the word create. I will advise capital it actually, so that create table. Now when you have your own command like this and you want it to actually apply, it will appear in blue. So when it applies in blue like that, you know that, okay, fine, this SQL actually listens to me. So if you don't have your table like that, if you don't have your query in blue, you know that it's not giving the right. Now if you want to create a table where you have let's just imagine a table of students. Let's say student. Let me put students. Now this one should, let me use create a table student. Now when we put the student, it means that the student is the name of the table. So in the table, we have, in the table, what do we want to put? We want to put matric number. Matric. You can't put space. So matric number. Matric number. Now, if your matric number is being included, you need to tell us what kind of data type. Is it a varchar or integer? Integer is whole number, while varchar is string. So let's do integer. Integer will be ent, meaning that place will be ent. then you write your comma. Now if you have any error when you are writing your query, basically it will actually show that stuff as underlined as red. You get, so after you have connected your server, you brought in the server, you connect your server. If your server is not connected, you check the site, you connect it, you get. If it's not connected, please you connect it. So that's that on that. Now let's go into the next thing. That's matric number, integer. Then we have what should we put? Let's put first name. First name. Let's see first name. What will be our first name like that? Our first name is going to be in what, in varchar. Why? Because varchar is in strings. So now that varchar now, let's say how many words do you want it to be? Let's say just 25 words. The first name, you have 25 words for first name. Good. Now let's go and put your comma. First name, then let's do last name. Last name. So let's do last name. If you write it in small letter, it would actually come up, but I'll prefer it like in capital letter. Like you know that okay, that is for the command. So varchar, let's do 25 too. Then let's do the department ID. Now the reason I'm using the department, I'm teaching us to I said I'm going to be teaching us how to join too in this class. So although the major aim is to create table for this class, you understand, but I'll be using this one. So now the student matric number, first name, last name. Then let's do the department ID, like meaning that we're having an ID for each department. So we're having another table where we have the department and then the ID. So it will tell us, okay, fine, if you have this ID on your beside your name, this is the kind of department you're going to be working with. You are going to be in as a student, you get. So now let's go with department ID, department ID. Let me join it together. So if department ID is called department ID, what I'm going to put, should we make it integer or varchar? Department ID, let's make it integer. So we just name it integer like that. Then we close our bracket. So we are saying that please let's create a table where we have student and then the student, we have column, matric number, first name, last name, and department ID. That is that from that. So now if you press anything, if you execute it or you press F5, it will create a table. Let's do execute. You see, can we see that we have command completed successfully? You get command completed successfully. Now if you want to be sure if that thing is being created, the table is created. Let me put it as showing table. Now it's not necessary for you to write all these ones, but I'm trying to make us understand how to get. So in case you are writing your code, you know that this is what I actually did. This is what you carried out before. Showing table. Now showing table. So even if you run this one with the double dash, it will not count it as a query you get. It just say it as a word. So showing the table. Now if you want to show the table, now what you do is you press select. Select is a special word. Here it's a command that you need to know. Let's use capital letter so that we can put it in small letter. It's that only dependent on how you want to do it. Select all. If you want to pick all, that is you use your star to pick all. So if you want to select some specific part of your table, you usually select any of the, probably your column, probably matric number, first name, last name, department, like that. But for now, we'll not be doing retrieving of data. You just want to learn how to create a table first. Okay. So now let's say select all from if you are selecting, note you must use the word from. You have to use the word from. If you don't pick the word from, it will not come. Now select all from. What is the name of your table? That's student. So you need to write it properly, student. It will bring it up. You see, you have it here, student. Select all from. So if you press enter, you can go to the next line. So you can just highlight this one to execute it, F5, or you go to execute. You just see matric number, first name, last name, department ID. Now, so if you look at this now, this one will actually appear in your master database. If you go and check, like the column will be there in your master database. Check system database as master, and then you have tables. You have tables. Okay, I've not saved it. It should appear now. Okay, let me check graph tables. System tables. Okay. Let's hold on. I'll refresh it. It should come up normally in your system database so that you can see. So now let's go on. Let me finish up. So we'll check it again. Now you see we now have the column number, matric number, first name, last name, then student ID. Now let me show you how to insert. We have those columns ready made in your SQL. You get. Now let me show you how to insert your details into that table. Now let me put that inserting details or placing numbers or values. Inserting your values. Okay, I use inserting your values. Note, if you inserting your values, then you go to enter. Don't forget, when you have gray like this, it means that you are writing a word that will not appear in your code. That will it's just showing what you are doing. It's just telling us what you are doing, but it will not affect your queries and all like that. When you get to some aspect of inserting your alphabet, inserting your words, it's going to turn red. So you don't worry, when you get accustomed with all these things, you get to understand the color coding. Now let's go on. Now I want to insert your values. Now what you do is use the word insert. Insert, as I said, this thing is English language. Insert into where are you inserting into? Let's have it as space students. That is, so you might not need to write it again. Insert into students. Now when you have insert into students, you need to put it into bracket. In which order do you want it to be? Like in which order do you want it to be? So meaning that if you are writing anything, it will actually follow that order and insert it into it. You understand? So two things are involved. You can to speed up your work. If you have insert into, you don't need to. You can copy it instead of having a matric number, comma. If you have your first name, you can have it like that. Did you get that? Then you can do your comma. Then you have your. You press last name to bring it out. You can copy like that. I showed us 2 ways. Let me see. Department ID. Did you see that? Now insert into. Now when you say insert into this, you need to tell it what to do. Now you now write your values. Insert into students. That's the table. Then matric number. That's the column. Then you now put your values. You have to tell it. You have to tell SQL what to do. Values. So just as if you are writing English language, you have to understand the code. But don't forget what we are learning here. We want to learn how to create a table. So what we use the word create table, just as if you are writing English. Then you use the table you want to create, student, then the column in brackets. Then you specify the data type you are placing into it. That is an integer, varchar, data string, integer, or number. You get. Then you want to select the table. You use the word select. Then if it's all, you put it as star. Now if you are selecting some part of the column, you don't need to use star. Just to select probably your matric number, your first name, and your last name, and then you put from. From is very important. You get. You select from where for student. You get that. Then you want to put your values. You have to put insert into student. That's the table. Then the column, how you want it to be arranged. Then you go on with other things. Let us see if the values. Now what do you want to put? Let's say the matric number. Now the matric number, what I put in the matric number, we have let's say 101, comma, you don't need to write it 101. What's the first thing? Let's say shell. Now if you notice that it's bringing it as one of the syntax there, which is not, that was wrong, meaning that what I typed was wrong at first sentence, because the Sheung is a string normally, so we have to put it in apostrophe so that the studio will understand the fact that it is a word, that it is not a command, it's not a syntax. Sheung, then comma, our last name, that name is surname. Let's do Sheung Adewale. If you notice, you see that it's showing it as a text. You get. Now let's go to this one. This one is department ID. Let's just assume we have it as 2. We have it as 2. Then we have comma. Then you can write it like that, but I don't like it like that. I like it to be under. Let me make it up to be under it, so that we can have it systematically, so that we can understand. I can place it next to it. It is allowed. I can place it next to it. It's still wrong. I can place it downwards. It's still wrong. Okay, but so that we can actually understand it, to not give us issues. Like that, let's have it this way. Okay. Let's say matric number 2 points. I'm just copying it so that I will not waste most of our time. Let's do let's do let's say the two of them are in the same department, so they have the same department ID. Let's just assume, or let's do like this. Let's change. Okay, let's assume that that's the department ID. So let's go again. I can paste this one just to speed up my work. Anyways, 3. What of time professional. You don't need to type. You need to type your stuff. But to work with speed, we can actually do that. John. Easy. Let's use easy. But this person is in another department. Department ID. Let's say 3. Then let's go to the next one. Comma next. Let's say we have magic number 1.4.104. Let's see. Joy Odewale. Let's use that one. Let's use Odewale. Let's do 1. Okay, now let's have 1, 2, 3. Let's have one more comma. Let's paste that on. Let's see 505. Let's see Aishat. Let's see Aishat Ibrahim. I don't know if I actually get. Let's say Aishat Ibrahim is in another department. That's 4. You get. So that one is like that. Okay, insert this one. Insert all this one into that. Now let's try if it's going to work. So you can just highlight this one, then use execute. Did you see that? 5 rows affected. 5 rows. Sometimes you might actually write your own and then it will not run. So you correct anything that is being written. Like here now, you are going to have the details of what is going on if it's not running. Let me see. Because I'm doing it my own and I'm very conscious of how I write my query basically, so it might not tell you error, but sometimes I tell you error from inside. So be careful of the words, the spellings, the syntax, the commands you are going to use. You get to get your desired result. So 5 rows have been affected. Now let's be sure if we have it. Let's be sure. So let's say it's showing the table. I can copy this one here. I can copy. Let me have it. Let me paste it here, and then let me run this one as F5. I'm just highlighting everything. It might not highlight it. Did you see that? So we have matric number, first name, last name, department ID. Did you see that? So we have that in our first table. So this is how to create a table. This is how to create a table in a SQL. You just understand the words to use. You have to understand the words to use. Create table. Then you have to insert the name of the table you want to create, the column in brackets indicating the data type, if it's integer or in numbers. You get, then put everything in brackets. They want it to show fine. If you are sure of yourself, you don't want it to show, just leave it. Then you're now going to insert into the table the name of the columns, then put in brackets, then you put values, then you place in your values. Now the way you arrange your columns and all, the way you arrange your columns where you have your insert into, it's the same way you're going to have it here in your values. So that's how you work with that. So that's that on that.